Ladies and gentlemen, for a session sponsored by Sojern, please welcome Chief Revenue Officer Sojern, Stephen Taylor, in discussion with SkiftX Research Editor Jeremy Kressmann.
All right. Well, in today's session, we're going to focus on marketing in the travel industry, certainly a topic we all have talked a lot about. But I think we're going to approach the topic from a novel angle. How do you market to travelers in a responsible way in 2019? I think the travel industry right now faces a really important challenge. How do you deliver the right messages to customers at the right time while also making sure that it's relevant and also respecting their privacy, right? It's become a big issue. So today we've got Stephen from Sojern with us. He's going to give us some details of a new study that we just published on Skift and also help us understand how marketers can navigate some of these tricky questions. So Stephen, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Why don't you start at a broader level, paint a picture for us of what travel marketing looks like today? What are the challenges and the opportunities that you're seeing at Sojern as you talk to clients?
I mean, that's a pretty broad question. I mean, to focus it on, I think, the specific challenge, in a summary, it's really trying to understand and market to what we've called the always-on customer. And this will be familiar to any marketer, I think, in any sector. Yeah. You know, the internet has given us seemingly almost an infinite choice. I can research anything sitting in my armchair 24/7, 365 days a year. I can think about, if I've got any degree of affluence, I can be sitting in that armchair thinking about Minnesota, Micronesia. I can be planning and thinking, going anywhere at any time in any way. And if you add into that, at a marketing level, the plethora of channels and ways I can do that. Mm-hmm. I can research it, I can be on review sites, I can be at multiple OTAs, I can compare brand sites, I can do all of these things from a laptop or from my mobile. And trust me, we've seen the data. However good your loyalty program is, that is what people are doing. They're looking at your competitors, they're looking at 3 OTAs, they're sort of surfing around. So that is the real challenge. The flip side is, that same technology is bringing us opportunities to figure out how to market in that context.
Sure. I think there's some challenges that are overall affecting pretty much every industry when it comes to digital marketing, but there are some challenges, I would say, that are unique to travel. You have inventory like a flight, for example. Once that flight takes off, that inventory is gone. You can't ever sell it again. You've got people doing last-minute trips that are, 24 hours before I got a hotel, I'm booking at the last minute, but then other people that are planning for 6 months. How do you navigate some of these complications of the travel industry when you look at this?
I think that's absolutely right, and it's sort of obvious, I'm sure, to everybody in this room, but is absolutely mind-blowing to people who aren't inside travel that you cannot sell tonight's hotel room tomorrow. We know that, but it's gone. But I think the real thing is if you put that in the context of what I previously just said, you look at the complexity. Now, we spent 10 years studying the path to purchase. We collect and aggregate and analyze millions of data points from hundreds of millions of consumers in real time on travel sites. Mm-hmm. And as you say, those travel pathways to purchase are unbelievably complex. They're diverse, multiple people are doing different things. And I can tell you that you talk about the last-minute shopper or the long-term planner, it's the same people. It's not like I'm in a bucket, I'm a last-minute shopper. I mean, I'm both of those things. It depends entirely what I'm doing at the moment I'm doing it. And really what we're seeing is that the ability of putting people in segments or just personas. I'm an adventurer traveler, I'm a snowflake, I'm this, I'm just really doesn't cut it, particularly in travel marketing, with that unbelievable choice of things I can do, unbelievable choices of the ways I can do them, and everybody navigating their own thing. I mean, a well-known OTA used to publish some sort of regular desk research that used to say something like the average traveler has something like 290 touch points before making a booking. And that's a useful piece of information to know at a general level. It says there's a lot of touch points. Yeah. it's absolutely useless in terms of what the hell on earth do I do
Right.
about that, because nobody's actually doing 290 and everybody's doing 500 or 1,000, and everybody's doing something differently. So the only way to understand that is looking at real-time data and understanding what real people are doing in real time. What mode am I in right now?
Right.
What have I previously done, but what am I looking to do right now? Then you can start to piece something together.
Last week and last month's data can only provide so much direction.
For sure, for sure.
So I want to talk for a second about personalization. It's the travel industry's favorite word for sure. What does that term mean to you at Sojern? How do you personalize, knowing that we have this situation where real-time travelers' preferences and what they need is changing?
Yeah, I mean, what does it mean to me? I mean, I think in some ways, it's become a buzzword, and certainly in the travel industry, hotel industry, people are talking about it all the time. As a marketer of frighteningly long number of years standing,
Sure.
it's not a new thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is what marketing has always been about. Fundamentally, it means, how do I customize that message? How do I engage with you in a relevant way that recognizes your needs? And to me, it's the bottom line of all marketing. I mean, if your competitor understands your customer or potential customer better than you do, and if not only do they understand that, but they use that understanding to engage with that consumer in a more relevant way than you do, they will win.
They win.
And you will lose. You've got to be understanding the mode I'm in right now. What am I seeking to do? As well as the history. The ability to combine the data I have as a hotel brand with what somebody's doing in real time right now. Those two things coming together. And the good thing is the technology does exist to do that. We're able to create real-time audiences. We're able to match those audiences with consumer audiences. The rise of programmatic buying, machine learning. All marketing will be done that. We're seeing it in connected TV, the ability over the top, the ability to create a TV creative, but talk right personally to individuals, hyper segments or individuals. It exists right now.
Really interesting takeaway from our report. I mean, it's a little bit diverging, but we talked about how TV has always been about scale. You're reaching a broad audience, but now we have the digital tools to actually get down to the precise customer with TV as a medium. So that's really interesting. Related to personalization, I wanted to go to the flip side of this, Stephen, which is privacy. We've seen what's happened in Europe with the passage of GDPR. I think we've all been impacted by that. California, I know next year is launching their own consumer privacy bill. How do marketers actually navigate this increasing need for privacy with this demand for more relevant marketing? How do you strike the right balance?
It's a great question, if not the question. In the area of doing what I do. And I worry about it at some levels because in my more cynical moments, and I'm a Brit, so I have quite a lot of cynical moments. I sometimes read, and with the wonderful exception of Skift, obviously, but I sometimes believe that almost everything I'm reading about this is wrong.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you know about a topic, you suddenly go, whoa, that's just... Because on the one hand, we're going, moaning about the regulations, too much regulation, it's onerous, it's killing business, the next minute we're decrying Facebook and Google and hating everything that they're doing. When I look at it, I think two things really. One is regulation, broadly put, is a good thing for both the consumer, perhaps obviously, but also for business. It keeps you on the straight and narrow, it makes you do the right thing, and that's got to be right. We should all stop moaning about it. The second is it is absolutely possible to both personalize, and let's be clear, consumers are expecting and demanding that we do personalize. At the same time as respecting their data, respecting and protecting that data. It's really hard to regulate. Trying to regulate continuous innovation is super hard. It means the legislators move inexpertly, they move slowly or a slightly clunky way.
Right.
But broadly, I think if you look at any industry, you look at the automobile industry over 100 years, you look at broadly, the regulators are on the right side of history. They're with the consumer. So what we do when trying to actually answer your question in terms of the navigation of that can't possibly go into all the technical and legal things here, and there are a lot of those things you have to get right. But to me, the overriding thing is that the three sort of words we keep repeating for the consumer, it's about transparency, control, and choice. And I think behind all of that, it is saying, is the way I'm collecting the data, is the reason I'm collecting this data and what I'm going to do with it fundamentally and essentially about creating more value for the user from whom I'm collecting that data? And at the same time, can that consumer, can that user see and exercise some form of control or choice over that? Now, you have to then frame it into words, and the GDPR was not a big issue for us, to be honest, because that's how we've always thought. We had to change some legal wording because there's very precise logic, but fundamentally it didn't change our business, because if you adhere to those principles, that is nearly always what the legislators are trying to do. And our European business is up 80% year on year at the moment. So it seems it is absolutely possible to do both personalized, data-driven marketing and fully respect people's privacy.
Okay, more user-centric approach
100%.
to privacy. Okay, that's all the time we've got for you today, Stephen. But appreciate your time, and everybody check out the trend report we just published on Skift with Sojern about advertising trends.
Thank you very much.